Welcome once again to the Pop Cult Experience podcast. I am Tyler. That is Karen. And here we are doing this thing that we do again. But some of you may notice something different. Other people may just be new to this because we have switched-ish formats.
We have also embraced another format.
We've added a format. So some of you may still be listening to the audio of us. Ooh, we're coming to you from your speakers, but we're not really there. Some of you may be seeing us right now, and to those people, we do apologize.
Sorry.
It's not our fault. We look at it's 6 and it's 7. It's holy fuck. It's 8 in the morning here.
I mean, I have no such excuse. It's like 2 p.m. where I am, so I look like I look. Sorry, that's what I do.
But yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, welcome to the podcast. We're new to this, so the first couple of videos might be a little janky.
Yeah.
We don't know. I'm still working on editing details and trying to hone my craft, which is probably not going well if you're watching this and it still looks like shit. To those of you who are listening to the podcast and want to see our faces, well, you can always move over to our YouTube channel and watch us do the thing we do, because if you watch us, there's little things that'll appear on screen that you can see when we're talking about them and such, which may add to the joy, happy feelings of also listening to us.
The ridiculous facial expressions that you and I both make every once in a while.
There is ridiculousness in our faces.
I think we can be kind of entertaining. I mean, we entertain ourselves. That's why we kept doing this by video. And then we're like, why don't we just record that?
Yeah. I mean, because of course, even though we were recording audio, we still wanted to see each other online, like over the interwebs, because it just makes it easier to talk to somebody when you can fucking see them.
Yeah.
So now we've just decided, why not embrace the fact that we had video running and recorded as well.
Indeed.
And so far, it's gone well. Our first video, which was last week's Valentine's Day season 4 premiere episode, got a bunch of views and stuff like that. So, I mean, maybe we've hit on something. I don't know. Anyway, that's the intro, folks. If you're new, welcome. If you're old, welcome back. Welcome back.
That's highly appropriate. Might be on your mind for a reason.
Why is Welcome Back Kotter on my mind for a reason? Oh, right, because it's in the fucking movie we're going to be reviewing later.
There you
Spoilers. Spoilers, the theme to Welcome Back Kotter is in Ant-Man and the Wasp, which we will be reviewing later, so stick around for that. But first, we got to get into the stuff that we do on these regular run-of-the-mill, not run-of-the-mill because they're super special episodes that we do, and let's get into a little bit of the news and previews. If I've done my job.
Maybe.
If I haven't, fuck you.
So, of course, we have not been recording for a couple of months other than the special from last week. So, I mean, a million things have happened. We're not going to talk about all the things that have happened in the last 2 months or month and a half since we recorded our last sort of normal episode. But we do have, of course, some highlights. So, what's your kind of, do you have something in particular you want to say first?
Do I want to say first?
Yeah, like announce first. Talk a bit like news-wise.
Oh, I got a bunch, so we can just start wherever I point my finger. And that is, go. If you are around 40 plus years old, you may be excited because on the 30th anniversary of when it premiered, Biker Mice from Mars is returning in a new animated series in 2023. So we're getting, fuck, I don't even remember their names. Torque, Vinny, and fucking Lobo, Shobo. Well, now I have to look this up. Oh, Throttle, Moto, and Vinny. I was so close. Are returning to fucking fight evildoers and ne'er-dwellers. Ne'er-dwellers? Is that a word?
Never dwellers. Sure.
Sure. Anyway, we make up words on this fucking
All the
program
time.
as well. But yeah, Biker Mike from Mars. I mean, they're mice that drive motorcycles, and they're basically kind of superheroes, and they fight the evil. It's
Cool.
good, and it was kind of a, I guess you'd call a teenage cartoon. Wasn't really for the littles.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a Rick and Morty for like the adults and stuff like that. It was kind of in the middle, like it was for teenagers. So I don't know if they're bringing it back in this iteration more of like the Adult Swim style, or if they're gonna still kind of aim for the younger folk. But
Cool.
we shall see.
Cool.
That's my first bit of news. Do you have anything?
Oh, I have so many different things, but nothing like specifically animated related, unless we want to like, you know, do a little segue from animated to comic books. And there's a casting announcement for Deadpool 3.
Okay, we'll move
So,
there.
you know, there we go.
We don't have any rhyme or reason for what we do here. We just move about.
We do. Sometimes we have clever segues. Sometimes we can't make those happen. So
sometimes we don't plan it before we get behind the mics.
No, because planning is bad for both of us when it comes to this stuff. It just ends up sounding like we are reading from a page, and we don't like sounding like robots.
Unless that's like the specific segment we're doing.
Well, then that's okay.
Then we'll sound like we haven't added that segment in yet, but based on your likes and comments, we might do a segment where we just fucking sound like robots.
So, of course, like the big excitement around Deadpool 3 was the announcement that Hugh Jackman was going to be coming back as Wolverine. And now they have announced that the Crown breakout star Emma Corrin is going to be joining the cast as the villainess.
The big bad.
So we don't know the name of the role or anything yet. We are still working on that. But
I'm sure folk could probably speculate. I can't, because as much as I enjoy Deadpool, I didn't read a lot of the comics as a younger fella.
Mm-hmm.
So whilst I'm sure anybody else could figure out who she would be playing if you went back through the annals of Deadpool and found a variety of the female evils,
mm-hmm.
the female villains, that I'm sure somebody out there's figured out who she will be playing. We haven't yet. If you know, again, we have comments, we have social medias. You can throw it in our ear holes, mm-hmm. or our eye holes, because we'll be reading it, whatever. And then we'll know too, and we'll be very excited and thankful.
And I had some other really some sort of late breaking comic book movie news. Actually,
I don't have a sound for late breaking.
This one just came out in this last week. The new reboot of Hellboy is in the works.
I was going to do that.
It's going to start production in the next couple of months in Bulgaria. And the cool thing about it is that the creator of the comics is actually going to be the one that's involved with the script. So super awesome news that Mike Mignola was joining the creative team there. And it looks like it's going to be based on a comic that he wrote very shortly after the movie sequel came out.
Yeah, it's called The Crooked Man.
Correct. Yeah, Hellboy, the Crooked Man.
And from what I read, this is one of the most beloved storyline arcs for Hellboy.
Excellent.
That's what I read on Deadline. So thank you.
That's what they told us. Yeah.
That's what they told me.
We are not originators' source of information here, folks. Sadly, we don't have Hollywood like talking into our ear, but we go and we find out things, and then the things that are interesting, we tell you. That's kind of what we do.
That's what we do, because maybe you don't want to go searching through all of the interwebs for all of the news. So now you just got to listen to us for like hours upon hours a week, a year, a month, a year, a decade. Well, yeah. So there, Hellboy coming back, which some people may be very happy about, and some people may have watched the last iteration of Hellboy with David Harbour and stabbed their eyeballs out and may not be able to enjoy the new reboot movie.
We will have to see what happens, of course, because they haven't announced casting yet. They're in final talks, like final phases of talks with folk.
I like David Harbour.
Yeah, I had no issue with David Harbour being cast in that role. I thought he was a great pick to take over from Perlman.
Yeah, his delivery, his mannerisms, his voice, everything fit the Hellboy mold for me. It was just the writing. It was a poor script and whatnot, and I can't say much about the directing. I mean, there was some drops on that, but I mean, if Harbor came back, I'd be excited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Moving on. Staying with the comic books. Do I have something?
I don't know.
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh yeah, we are getting a Spider-Man noir. So this will not be. This is basically like, I guess, Spider-Man fucking a la Logan, because it's going to be an old grizzled Spider-Man. I think it's set back in the 1930s, once you get the noir from, stuff like that. It won't be an iteration of Peter Parker. It'll be another character, but won't be played by Nicolas Cage, I'm guessing, even though he voiced Spider-Man Noir in the Spider-Verse. But I doubt it's going to be him. But anyway, we're getting a Spider-Man Noir on Prime Video coming out sometime. I don't know when it's starting. But yeah, the write-up is a series. Oh, it's a series. Sorry, not a movie. It's a series. The series will follow an old grizzled superhero who won't be a version of Peter Parker. It will be set in New York City in the 1930s.
Okay, well, maybe it will be cool. I mean, I certainly love their take on like sort of Art Deco Golden Age Hollywood when they did Werewolves by Night, and so maybe that playing around with that might be fun. Sometimes they do cool stuff.
Yeah. Sticking with the comic book side of things, this might. What?
I was just sort of saying an aside to people. We do a lot of comic book stuff because we like them.
This could be interest some people. I came across it and I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. We are getting a new comic book series that pits the Street Fighter folk against the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So that is what you call a crossover, people. So Ken, Ryu, and Chun-Li and Honda versus fucking Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael.
The urge to do this and to read this at like a video game console and be like tapping buttons will be
this is what I'm wondering. I'm like, does this comic book now bring forth the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles into the next Street Fighter game?
I feel like it's going to.
Street Fighter 39 or whatever the next one's going to be.
I feel like that just is going to have to happen now. And if not, make it so.
I mean, just recently on Game Pass, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game. So that big, like, 4-player one side-scrolly kind of fighter showed up on there. I've been playing the shit out of it. So kind of cool tie-in there. I used to play that game. Me and my buddies used to play that game. Like, it was the, let's go to the arcade and play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. Well, everybody else was doing the Mortal Kombats and the Street Fighters and everything. We were the co-op guys. We didn't want to fight each other. We wanted to fight side by side as Mutant Ninja Turtles.
There you go. That's cool.
Not on the comic side, but from a comic-ish guy. What the fuck is his name? I had his name. You'll know the guy who does Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh my God.
Oh, so I'm not alone. Bill Watterson.
Thank you. I was like, I Bill something. Thank you.
Yeah. Is releasing a dark and adult graphic novel.
Whoa.
It will be called The Mysteries.
Oh.
So, I don't know what that's going to be like, because I love Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that Bill Watterson had a fucking dark and mysterious side, but he seems to. And
I think that was implied.
Oh, it was. I mean,
especially when like Calvin would do his like musings on, on the universe kind of stuff, that there was definitely a dark edge to some of that. But that sounds like it could be very interesting. I'd be very curious to pick that up when it comes out. Yeah,
not a ton is known about it at the moment. Just that it's going to be called The Mysteries. I can't remember his writing partner, but he has a writing partner. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe he's taking the visuals. I don't think he's drawing it. I think he's just writing it.
So he's going to be writing it, but not necessarily doing the
illustrations.
Doing the illustration. Okay.
As I find out more, I will bring it back up if people are interested. Stuff like that. I love Calvin and Hobbes, and anything that Bill decides to do, I will probably follow along. So this tickled me fancy.
Cool. Nice.
Um, we are ruining more of our childhoods because everything is going live action. So on the heels of course, we're getting of course, The Little Mermaid coming out this year, and Disney has basically live actioned every single thing that they have ever
It
created
seems
in the
to be what
animated.
they're doing now. Yeah.
Well, now we're getting a live action Lilo and Stitch. That's it. A live action Lilo and Stitch.
I will say that that particular story is a really great one, and I think it has some really positive things to say about about family and how you define those things and being yourself and all of this other kind of all these other kinds of really great messages. Um, does it need to be in? But okay, whatever. I know that they do this to like do something new and also bring, like, of course that means that people that are parents that loved it when they were kids are gonna want to get their kid to watch it and I know how this is all a marketing thing, but okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, Lilo and Stitch was probably one of my favorite of
Amazing.
the hand drawn, and well, I say hand drawn, I mean of the before Pixar animated movies, like the
Yeah.
2D kind of animated movies. Probably my favorite, so I'm not against it. It has Zach Galifianakis in it. That's the one cast announcement so far.
Okay.
I just think that a movie like Lilo and Stitch may lose some of the whimsy and the fun that you got with animation.
Nah. But it could be a better, like, depends on how they do it, because of course like a large portion of the cast areas are humans.
Yeah.
They could do this. It could be far less CGI. Like obviously Stitch would have to be CGI, but it could be more real kind of thing. Whereas a lot of the movies that they have done are things like, the Jungle Book and Little Mermaid and all of that involves really, just essentially scenes that are completely CGI. So I feel like it might be a better bridge. I don't know, but we'll see. Have to wait and find out.
I mean, nobody has really done much complaining about any of the other ones that they've turned to live action.
Mm.
I mean, they've all fared fairly well in theater and stuff like that. And the only other thing to do is if you wanted to bring back some of these classic franchises you have. I mean, you could go the sequel route, but basically once you put out the first, possibly the second one in theaters, the rest of them just go straight to video style movies. Like I think there has been Lilo and Stitch sequels, and they've all gone straight to video, or been like that one-off like Christmas special, like Lilo and Stitch Christmas and whatever. So I can see that you need to breathe new life back into it, but I just this goes back to the conversations we had numerous times about the lack of originality coming from somebody like fucking Disney, who now owns the world and probably can milk like so many different franchises out of all of the things they own. And what do? They choose to just bring something they've already done in a new form. I mean, technically we just did that because we went from audio to video, but still. But what we didn't do is just go back and re-record all of our old episodes as video. I mean, because why make us watch or listen? Why make somebody listen to that whole episode again just with us on screen instead? So, I say all that, and then we are also getting a live action How to Train Your Dragon movie. It's coming in 2025. This one. So basically what we're getting is a kid-friendly House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones.
I mean, that could be fun.
Well, seeing how well they can do dragons in shows like House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, even going back to what was the one with Sean Connery as the dragon? Was Drago?
Oh dear. Dragon Quest?
No. Anyway.
No, I don't.
Dragonheart.
Dragonheart. Okay.
I mean, even that was like a 90s movie that still had a really good looking dragon in it and stuff like that. So this could be good. Now, are they going to get like Jay Baruchel to play Hiccup?
I don't know.
Because, I mean, again, this comes down to the fact that there's been like 3 or 4 of these movies, and he has voiced the character.
Yeah, they're not going to do that though. Like he's not young enough to.
Oh yeah, but there's literally been 3 or 4 of these movies. Hiccup is now like a 20-some-year-old.
Yeah, but I'm sure that they're going to start the live actions with the original film.
Yeah, probably. But again, this is why I tend to not like humanized live action films, because yeah, you can change up the character and stuff like that. But I've watched all of the How to Train Your Dragon movies. I know Hiccup's voice, so changing it after this many, like doing the Lion King or stuff like that, you can bring back the original voice actors, because now it's just reanimated lions and tigers and bears, oh my, stuff like that. But once you get to human characters, and especially ones that have been around for, it would be like making a live action Toy Story and not having like Hanks and Alan and stuff like that. Like you just don't do it. But
yeah,
I'm sure this will look fantastic, but I might have some qualms with it for not having the original actors play the voices. Especially if you're going to stick to the same storyline. If you're going to be like, oh, it's How to Train Your Dragon, the new breed, and maybe you bring back Baruchel as the teacher or the mentor, like the character that like Craig Ferguson played in the original, and kind of like move forward. That's fine. Like Gerard Butler could still play Hiccup's father. Like he's good and old and all of that.
So
anyway,
old. So
old. Where was I? Okay. And everything possibly coming back from non-existence. Where am I going? Yeah, okay. I think that's... Sorry, just flipping through my news. Oh, before I get to there. If you were in the Ottawa area and have nothing to do between May 30th and June 4th, and you have a couple of dollars to spend and you want to go spend a night at the NAC, I highly recommend it, because Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill musical is coming to Ottawa.
Nice!
From May 30th to June 4th, it will be at the NAC for like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, double bill Saturday, double bill Sunday show. And I am thinking about it. I've checked Ticketmaster. The tickets are like $85 plus whatever fees.
That's totally reasonable.
So $85 plus Ticketmaster fees and charges. Tickets will be about $412 each. But
yeah, that's not. I'm supposed to be. I'm hoping to be in town for June. So,
well, it's going to be. It must be early June, because.
But it might be something that would make it worth it. Not that it wouldn't be worth to come home at the beginning of June anyway, but that might be extra worth it. So
now, to everything that's old is new again. John, please.
Ottawa-related news first.
Oh, you have Ottawa. Okay, well, we're going to segue through Ottawa. We're good for that.
Well, so one of the places that we have frequented in the last little while is Cafe de Cuff, and the bar below, which is Mavericks. And the folk that are responsible for the bar and Cafe de Cuff announced on February 7th that they have bought the building. Ooh. So now it is
one giant music venue.
Yeah. So this is this is a big. A good chunk of like Ottawa's entertainment history, right? This is like this place has a whole lot of nostalgia with it in the first place, and a lot of things in its past. So, but they have renovated it beautifully in there over the last like couple of years. They started at the beginning of the pandemic, and they were hoping to have it done much earlier than they did, but now it's done. So the building is owned. It's not at risk of being torn down by developers, and we will have one of our lovely little music venues for the foreseeable future for now, which is
good, because I've been down there recently, and everything around them is becoming massive condos and skyscrapers. Yeah. So to buy it up and make sure that it's not, because like I think it's like 1 block away, building going up, 1 block the other way, building going up. So now it's going to be them in the middle, and everything. It's going to be like the old man's house from Up, just stuck in the middle of massive developments.
Preserving some of Ottawa's heritage, so I think that's really great.
Is that it? Is that all?
Well, I had one. Speaking of like sort of heritage pieces, I saw an announcement for an interesting or a film that has piqued my curiosity. I and will probably be of interest to you as well. They are going to be making a new Billy the Kid film,
Ooh.
largely focusing on his early life. So this is something that they have done much less. Of course, you know the shootout at the OK Corral is almost always the main point of these of films that are surrounding Billy the Kid, or it's an entirely fictional story. Of course, there are a zillion legends associated with this guy, many of which are not true, and they have been able to sort of like go through the historical sources and get a little bit more of an accurate bead on what actually happened in his life. And so the film that there is in development is going to be focusing on these things. And it's at this point, Barry Keoghan, who most recently we saw in The Banshees of Inisherin, will be starring as Billy the Kid.
I do like all of the Billy the Kid stuff.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of Billy.
Yeah.
So I think whether it's the fictional versions of Young Guns or whatnot, I mean, it's been told numerous times. So,
but I mean, if it brings something new, then I am definitely on board. And it sounds like this one will bring some new stuff. And I always deeply appreciate when history is actually incorporated properly into these kinds of films. So it'll be nice to learn something new.
Well, at the same time, you and me are getting overly excited about the new Three Musketeers films that are going to be coming out. We watched the trailers for those. Looks absolutely stunning. Yeah. So the Three Musketeers, D'Artagnan, coming out in Easter, and then Milady, which would be the second part of it, is coming out at Christmas of this year. So, yeah, I mean, we like our retellings of the classic tales if done right and if bringing something new to the table. So I'm on board. Now, to my everything that's old is new again. We'll go through a couple of these. John Cleese and his daughter Camilla are teaming up for a Fawlty Towers revival.
I saw that, yes.
So if anybody was a fan of, which I probably a little young to really appreciate it when I first found my way around it, and have sadly not gone back to
I went back to it in my 20s, maybe my early 30s, and I killed myself. Like there was a lot of funny in there. So.
They still know what we did last summer.
I heard about this. Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt are back in the saddle to redo I Know What You Did Last Summer.
In the saddle again. I feel this is based on the success of the Scream movies,
right?
Bringing back like Nev and Courtney and David Arquette and everybody. Yeah. Now all these other horror franchises are like, if we can talk some of our old stars into coming back, maybe we can jump on the nostalgia bandwagon and get some new and old fans back into the theaters. So, I mean, again, do I have high hopes for this? Depends on the writing and everything else. Have Freddie Prinze Jr. or Jennifer Love Hewitt done anything in the past? I don't know how long. I don't know. So
they haven't been much on our radar. That is for sure.
I'm sure they've been doing stuff.
I'm sure they've been doing stuff. Everybody does stuff. But
they haven't been front and center or anything. So I'm hoping this isn't a we just need a paycheck kind of thing, and we're going to get a shitty redo or a sequel of it. I'm hoping the last Scream, after 2 misses, the last Scream was actually kind of back on track.
Yeah, and apparently Scream 6 has also done quite well so far. So
yeah. So if they take care of it, it was a franchise that I enjoyed. That was back when we were getting the Screams and the I Knows and all of these teenage horror movies just kept rolling out one after another. Yeah, the Faculty, stuff like that. So, I'm happy for them to dig back into my nostalgia a little bit, depending on if it's good. Again, I would still like original fucking ideas, but sequels are always going to be there. Remakes are always going to be there. So I guess we'll just see how it does.
Yeah. Now, not so much a reboot, but definitely a stepping into the shoes of their parent. Ishana Knight Shyamalan is going to be stepping into her directorial debut soon. She's going to be doing a thriller called The Watchers, set in Ireland, and of course, her very her rather famous father is going to be producing on this. And now, to her credit, she does have a degree from NYU in the theatrical arts. It's not just simply being handed the reins or anything like that. But obviously, she's going to have a little bit of ease into Hollywood there, considering her dad's oeuvre, basically. I mean, he's got a good list of films behind him as well. So, and she did some second unit filming on Old and Knock on the Cabin quite recently. So she's had some behind the camera directorial experience already, as well as also in a series called Servant, apparently, which I'm not quite familiar with.
Yeah, I've heard of it. It's coming out, or is just
its fourth and final season is starting. So, yeah. But it's apparently quite a critically acclaimed show. But it might be something I catch later on. We'll have to see. I think the series that I'm most looking forward to catching that's coming soon is the final season for Ted Lasso, and that's coming out on March 15th. So I'm very excited to watch that. Although I'm sad that it's the last.
Yeah. Kelsey Grammer is going back to Boston.
What?
Frasier revival, and it's going to go to Boston and possibly a well-known bar.
Oh, dear God.
We might be getting a Frasier / Cheers revival.
Whoa. Craziness.
Now, okay. the Cheers part of it is possibly a long shot, and it may not be like a Cheers revival, more of a, like, whereas the gang from Frasier went to that certain bar, that nameless bar in episodes of Frasier, now they might be going to the Cheers bar instead. So we're getting a Frasier revival. He's going back to Boston, which everybody is inferring means that we could be getting Cheers in some sort of iteration.
Well, we certainly have seen that Ted Danson has remained active, so I could see him popping his face in there. It could happen, and maybe New Earth, and there's a few of the characters that are still kicking around. So
Woody Harrelson's still out there. I mean,
yep.
Now, seeing as I believe Cheers ended with him selling the bar or closing the bar, I don't know how that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless maybe Frasier buys the bar.
Who knows? Or maybe they start a new one. I don't know.
Maybe. Now, on news, this is the most exciting news that I'm going to bring you, and it's all complete speculation and rumor and whatnot. Kevin Bacon would do another Tremors movie if the script was right.
Oh, okay. Now, if the script was right.
Yes.
Right.
Meaning if it wasn't one of those Paul Gross?
Not Paul Gross.
No, the other Gross. The Family Ties Gross.
Michael Gross.
Mike Gross. I mean, not all of his poor sequel after sequel after sequel where the Tremors at one point, the Grapploids at one point flew because they had evolved and whatnot. So
okay, yeah.
Now, sadly, this is coming around a little too late for me because, of course, the passing of Fred Ward a few years ago means that he will not be returning, and the chemistry between Bacon and Ward were some of the reasons why the first and second Tremors did so well or were so good for me.
Yeah,
but it's on the radar. There's been talks that another Tremors movie is okay. The talks of another Tremors movie coming is less rumor and more gonna happen. The whether Kevin Bacon comes back to the franchise for a one-off or whatever is more of the rumor. But he said that he is open to the idea that, like, if the next Tremors movie is written and he likes the script or likes the story that they're telling, that he'd be like, okay, I'll roll back in.
Cool.
So that's it.
That's enough.
That's the news.
Yeah.
That's everything that we could remember to write down.
Yeah,
or whatever
that we thought
from.
was important. I mean, there are other major things that have happened. Of course, we have had the passing of Raquel Welch. There was one thing that we didn't talk about that I do want to mention, and that was they announced this week that Bruce Willis's aphasia, which was his difficulty with speaking and understanding speech, is actually is a symptom of further dementia. Which is frontotemporal dementia, and that was really sad news to hear, of course, because it. I have a feeling that had he been able to continue at his capacity that he was, 20 years ago or something like that, he probably would have been one of those venerable actors that continued to do some really awesome stuff well into their senior years. But he hasn't obviously is not going to be capable of that, and that's tragic to hear. He's not an old man, and not in my definition of old anyway. And it will be sad that he's not able to do that.
And I, sadly, want to say goodbye to Thick 44.
Yeah, I heard about that. That was
from real name Tony Schnur. Schnur. Sure.
Schnur, yeah.
So, of course, this is Thick 34 from Neebs Gaming, which is a gaming channel, a streaming channel that I watch on YouTube, where these 5 guys just play video games and are absolutely hilarious. And
they don't just play video games. They play video games and make entire narratives out of these video games.
That is true.
Absolute hilarious, plot twists and all sorts. If you're going to spend your time watching somebody else play video games, this is a really fun way to do it.
Yeah, because that's it. As you just said, it's not the fact that they just play a video game and you watch them play it. Like when they played Grand Theft Auto 5, they created full-on characters and had storylines and lives in the game and stuff like that. And they play 7 Days to Die. They play Ark. They play Grand Theft. Then they have the little one-offs like Scrap Mechanic and stuff like that. And they play all these Steam games, and they're absolutely hilarious. And they really seem to love what they're doing because, as you said, they make full narratives. They tell stories. They're hilarious, whatnot. And they just, as of recently, very recently, lost Thick 44, who for a year or two now was battling, had a tumor in his brain, had it removed. Then something came back. They had that removed as well, and they thought that he was doing fine and well, and complications. I don't know. The full story has been released. It was only a couple of days ago. So for the privacy of the Neebs family and Thick's family, daughters and everybody, not a bunch has been brought out about it. But I mean, the whys and the hows don't really matter. It's the fact that we are now missing Thick 44. And the Neebs Gaming people, of course, are taking some time off. They did, if you want to, they did a couple of tribute videos shortly after his passing. They did a live stream, and they showed a bunch of the best Thick moments, and they did a video package of just. See, one of the big things about Neebs Gaming was the fact that for years and years, nobody knew what they looked like. They hid behind their gaming characters, so the face reveal and stuff like that was a huge thing. So it was interesting to see that they did this video collage, video, and just showed so many pictures of the guys together that it was just funny to see that they had hundreds and hundreds of pictures of them playing together and at cons and gaming things and stuff like that from a channel that for the longest time wouldn't reveal their faces. So it's good to see all of them. So, I mean,
our condolences.
Our condolences to everybody that knew, friends and family of Thick. And I only found the gaming channel maybe 2 years ago, and I've literally ran through their back catalog of everything there.
I'd say at least 3, because we've been doing this for more than 3 years, and we knew about it at the beginning.
Oh yeah, because it was when I don't think we knew about it before, but it was when we were talking to your friends from FNR.
Yes.
Yeah, they brought them up, and I was like, oh, I'll check them out too, and blah, blah, blah. And I've been running with them ever since. So it's weird that somebody I never met, never knew, just listened to gaming and stuff like that can make an impact, because You listen to somebody, and these guys, like, for a lot of the time when they were doing their podcasts and their needs casts and stuff like that, were just themselves. So you kind of get to know them. It's not like watching just a character in a movie and enjoying the character. Like, these were real people that they in a lot of their channels and stuff, you got to see the real people, the guys like behind the curtain, the guys behind the characters that are playing. So so it's just weird that somebody that I never met, never knew, whatever, kind of made an impact. Like, when he was battling and stuff like that, and they were shooting videos without Thick, you missed Thick.
Yeah.
Like, so anyway, if you're a fan of game streaming channels, highly recommend checking out Needs Gaming.
Definitely.
And to the Needs Gaming folk, again, our condolences. So that's the sad of the episode.
Yeah, sorry, we had a little bit of there.
But now we'll move on to our review. But I'm adding in a second one. Surprise! Because my co-host hates it when I do this.
Yes, she does.
But I figured we're back, and we haven't been recording while something big was going on. I know we mentioned it in our last episode as one of our talking points of things you can watch during Valentine's Day. Yes. But we haven't really done a review on it. And seeing as we are halfway through it, because there's only 5 episodes remaining, we should probably talk about the first half of The Last of Us.
Okay. Well, I guess I can participate in this to some degree because, well,
because you've watched the 5 episodes. So I think we're all caught up here.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to review something that I haven't forced you to watch yet. Which I've done in the past, so that's fine.
No series. I don't think you forced me to watch any series.
No.
I mean, you've suggested some, but
mostly... Oh, no, I meant that, like, on a Sunday when we were going to record, like, early that morning, I'd be like, hey, I want to review this. Got time to watch it in the next 15 minutes? But yeah, so The Last of Us has been out there. Episode 5 or episode 6 is happening tonight. I mean, not tonight for you people listening, because this is going to be out after that episode. But as of Sunday, episode 6 will have aired. So let's talk about the first 5 episodes and the show that is running away with everybody's attention and is the darling of TV at the moment, and is very well written, very well acted, and based in odd reality, because fungus can take over the world.
They can definitely. Well, it's certainly topical, considering we're still in the pandemic as it is. Certainly hasn't had the same degree of effect that the fungus in.
No, but I did just read a report that a new fungus, a deadly fungus, has been found in North America due to rising temperatures. It is surviving through longer periods of time and has evolved. Fuck it, Jesus. I just read the report. I didn't study it. Okay, well, I just heard it. If anybody wants to go look for it,
don't panic, because it's probably always been there.
Yeah, no, it has. The fungus has always been there. It's just gaining more longevity and strength due to, as of course the show itself tells us, global warming. Because fungus can't survive in, of course, the colder climates. And as parts of the world are no longer having the cold of the cold climates, then stuff like fungus and stuff are allowed to live longer, which adds
they're probably reproductive longer.
Yeah, reproductive longer adds to their longevity and strength and whatnot. Anyway, there was a report that shortly after the show started that people, again, I guess because of the show or not because of the show or for whatever reason, started looking into this, and somebody found that there was some fungus that is grown in stature.
Everybody calm.
We're not all going to turn into clickers and whatnot. I mean, that's at least 2 to 3 years away. No, what they said was that this is a viable thing to happen, but it wouldn't be in any of our lifetimes. And I mean, they say in any of our lifetimes, but I mean that I never really got that. Like, do they mean just my lifetime? Because what if somebody is like a month old right now?
Well, presumably they're not listening to or reading that particular article. So,
it could at some point in time. Anyway, Anyway, that was a whole sidetrack we didn't need to go on. Let's just talk about The Last of Us. I mean,
I have never played the game significantly. I've just played like the very beginning of it, mostly because I just don't have such time at this point in my existence. And I'm not as much of a gamer as you are for sure. But I have certainly been enjoying the show very much. I think that it has balanced sort of the drama of things very well. I have enjoyed the characters that they've introduced, even the ones that are not actually part of the game. Um, the effects have seemed overall very good. I of course absolutely adore Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal. I mean, they have been fantastic. So overall, I have really enjoyed the show, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes from here.
yeah, and as somebody who's played the game, I can say that all of the things that they have taken straight from the game, they've done well, and that they've added enough new things and changed some storylines subtly and whatnot that it at least keeps it interesting for those of us who have played the game and don't just really want to relive the game. If I just wanted to relive the game step by step, I'd probably rather just play the game.
Right, of course.
I mean, if I can be interactive with this story and or just watch it, I would prefer to be interactive with it. But this is adding enough new and changing enough that it's keeping me interested, and I've really enjoyed it. It's good storytelling. It's got.
I think they've done the pacing very well. Like they move the story forward, but they have these like little bubble stories going on as well, kind of thing. So of course, like the Bill and Frank sort of episode where we're really focusing in on their relationship. The more recent episode where we learned about Henry and his little brother,
Sam, yeah.
And it's I like these sort of like, obviously these are things that are tied into the main storyline, but they are these little sort of vignettes unto themselves, kind of thing. Yeah. But all part of how Ellie and Joel are sort of bonding together as they move through this post-apocalyptic universe together.
Yeah, I mean, this, of course, we're talking about quote unquote a zombie apocalypse movie, even though they aren't zombies. They're called clickers, and they're
not the living. I mean, they are the living dead. They're just being controlled by a fungus, which it does occur in nature with certain types of parasitic fungi that infect insects. In fact, so. Yeah.
Overall, I mean, if you're on the fence because you think it's another just zombie apocalypse show or whatnot, it is so much more than that. I mean, it's not just your standard. It's not The Walking Dead. I think it's a little more down to earth, a little more clever, better paced, better storylines.
I think it helps that it's more focused, right? So with Walking Dead, you had quite a large cast that you were dealing with there, and it almost felt like you never got to spend enough time with any of them. And whereas I find that in this particular show, because really the focus is Joel and Ellie, you can kind of these other characters have importance, of course, but their purpose is to sort of move their story along. So really, you're focusing on them and that relationship, and I think that makes the story more engrossing.
Yeah, it's as you just said, you're dealing with a smaller group of characters, so you can delve into them and their lives and stuff a little better than this scattered amount of people that were like in something like The Walking Dead or other zombie apocalypse kind of esque shows and movies. So I like that it's tight. I like that it's just well written, and we're following along some really strong central characters.
Yeah. And kudos to Pedro Pascal for managing to be in all of the cool shit in the last few years between Narcos and Game of Thrones and Mandalorian and now this. It's like, dude, I don't know what this guy's going to do from here on. But I guess he's now got an absolutely rock solid fan base.
Yeah. And now the big review. And if you're looking at our names and the little bubbles under our names, you might know what we're going to review. Also, I believe we mentioned it earlier.
We did.
But of course, we both went and we saw Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yay!
And it was good.
It was good. I was very happy that it wasn't nearly as motherfucking confusing as I thought it was going to be, because I really wasn't sure how this was going to end up being. Because of course, I knew that they were heading into the quantum universe for this, and we have visited there throughout the Avengers series in general. But knowing that they were going to be spending most of their time down there, I wasn't sure how easy this was going to be to follow. And they didn't make it stupid simple, but they definitely kept it easily accessible, and I really appreciated that, because we are talking about messing with time and space.
Yeah.
And that can always get muddy fast. So I appreciated the way that it came out. I thought it came off. I thought it had good pacing. I, of course, really enjoy the characters that are involved here. I liked that Michelle Pfeiffer got more of a role.
I was going to say, I liked that all 5 characters got their bits. Like, it wasn't just pinpointed on Scott Lang or anything. It was Douglas and Pfeiffer and Lily and everybody got like equal billing, and Jonathan Majors as Kang got some.
He was spectacular,
and he was like in not like one of those villains where you see for 5 minutes in the end of the movie. He was in it. He was there. He was front and center with everybody else. And absolutely hilarious, and kind of somewhat true to the comics version of MODOK. Because his character,
oh my god,
his character was basically the villain version of the comic relief in like the comics and stuff like that. So I thought they did a pitch perfect job there.
Yeah.
I felt they walked the line a little bit hurriedly, whatever. With the going too zany in the quantum realm with the creatures and the everything that they brought.
Well, they definitely had some very what's the word I'm looking for? Some significant creative influence from the Star Wars universe going on in there. So there was I was a little bit disappointed in that. It was like, come on, you could have done something totally new and different, and instead you kind of went back to the old familiar. But I really liked them. For ththose of you who have not seen this, this is the creature that is obsessed with holes.
Holes. I got holes!
Yeah. We're just going to leave it at that. And I also really liked Quaz, the dude with the like laser beam face thing. That was cool. And so I appreciated the creativity that went into some of the characters, but then they didn't really do it so much with the universe that I thought that they could have done more. They did there were some really nice little vignettes when they first landed in the quantum universe, when the family gets separated into 2 component parts and they have to kind of work their way to find each other again. And the 2 little spots that they end up in the universe were both really nicely rendered. I liked the tree jellyfish and things like this, and the weird fire eyeball tentacle thing. I don't know what that was, but it was cool.
Yeah, I mean, going into the quantum realm allowed them to open it up for the zany and the crazy. And this was one of the zaniest and craziest of the MCU movies.
Yes.
I don't feel that they overdid it, but I felt that they walked along, like they were pushing the envelope a little bit to going almost too over the top with it.
I think they didn't go quite far enough. I think they could have gone a little bit, but just a little bit different. But I still, altogether, I think that they told a good tight story.
Yeah.
And also managed to deliver it well pacing wise. I thought I at no point was bored, and that that always says something when it comes to these kinds of movies. My brain didn't start wandering off and doing other things.
Now, whereas I would have liked a bit less zany, and you would have liked a little more zany. On the other side, where you said you liked the kind of simple plot line, I would have liked a little more complexity, a little more exposition into Kang and stuff like that. I know he's going to be the big bad for movies and movies to come, so we didn't want to give away everything. But I felt that I don't feel I got enough out of his storyline to make him
Yeah,
so menacing yet.
yeah. So I wouldn't. It wasn't that I think the storyline was simple. I thought it was just not told in a really convoluted way, which they could have easily ended up doing as a result of the kinds of characters and the
Right.
kind of scenario that we're introducing here. I agree that there wasn't quite. I thought that they did enough with Kang that the level of his villainy was apparent, and
Yeah, I mean, he was
we got to
menacing and
see
all.
some of
I
his powers and how much devastation he can cause, like even
yeah.
and the things that we didn't even see, we learned. We learned that he exterminated universes,
And
right?
this was
I
my
mean,
other problem
mm,
is that the first half of the movie showcased him as this massively powerful being and stuff like that.
mhm,
And then when we got to the end battle, the end
mhm.
climax, his powers just simply seemed to go away.
Well, I mean, he seemed to have hand raise. That was that,
Yeah,
and
he
that,
got he got knocked down to blue beams of light, which is the staple of every Marvel
yeah,
movie. Is a blue beam of light.
yeah. I feel like they could have done more there, and maybe we'll have to see what they do later with him, because of course he's not gone. I mean,
No,
he's the main villain for this whole phase, so we'll have to see how they do. And of course, it might with him. I mean, we learn in the film that he is like one of many. He's one,
he's a variant.
he's one form of Kang, but that particular form of Kang seemed to be very capable of doing significant damage. And then in the end, he didn't seem to be as capable. But I don't know if that was also related to the fact that his ship wasn't available, right? Like there could have been some sort of thing there, but they didn't explain that very well. So
No,
that would have been a little bit better done. But I still think that they did a pretty good job of explaining
they
of
did have an
introducing.
entire world, numerous characters, and everything that they had to fit in, and I thought that they did a really good job of that.
Mhm.
Maybe I would have liked a little bit less of other characters, a little bit of more of Kang,
Sure.
a little bit extra backstory, a little bit extra explanation on the whys and stuff.
Hmm.
Again, I know that he's going to be the big bad for the next 10 movies, so you don't want to give it all away. I get
Yeah.
it. I was just left with a little more wanting on maybe exposition. I
Gotcha.
found they started exposition and then ended it without a proper closer on it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my only gripe. They had like really good special effects, really good locations. There was some really good like cinematic moments and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like a giant Scott Lang appearing through the cloud and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and like a very simple like line from Modoc, like an oh shit, like just like really like put a explanation point on the moment,
Mhm.
stuff like that. So I thought not deserving of the rotten score that it's currently getting on Rotten Tomatoes in my it's it's only the second MCU movie to get a rotten score on Rotten Tomato. It's only got like 54% approval on Rotten Tomato. And
And
I don't feel it's deserving of that.
no, not at all.
It had its misses, but it's an Ant-Man film, so it's supposed to be more of the now this is where I get a little bit quick, a little bit topsy turvy on it because it's supposed to be an Ant-Man movie. It's supposed to be fun and it's supposed to be comedic and it's supposed to be whimsical and funny and because we got Paul Rudd and we got blah blah blah. But it was also basically the first iteration and the leaping point of Kang and the next phase. And I think people thought that it didn't take that seriously enough.
Mm.
And I don't know. It was a fun fucking
I think
movie.
I'm okay with it. I think they did a nice
It
job.
it had enough menace from Kang. It had enough fun and comedy from the rest of the gang and Paul Rudd and everybody. It had enough fantastical. It had a couple of really big, good action comic book moments.
Mhm.
It had some stellar, just like one-off scenes where you're like, "Fuck yeah!" kind of like moments where like I
Mhm.
was like, "Yes!" Like this is the best kind of thing, and like the whole rebellion like them kind of
Yeah.
flooding in. I won't give away another
No,
huge
we can't.
moment that I fucking was like, ah, yeah.
I know which one you're talking about, and
Yeah.
yes, I was like, ah. So yeah.
But overall, I think anybody that goes to see this movie will enjoy it if you're a fan of the MCU and
Mhm.
specifically Ant Man.
That would be my only detractor, is that this one you probably won't like if you haven't watched the stuff that came before.
Oh yeah, this is very
It's not
continuation.
really it's not really a standalone unto
No.
itself film.
Yeah,
Really
no, this isn't let's introduce friends of ours to the MCU that haven't watched all the other ones. Like
yeah,
this is really a midpoint of phases before and to the phases after.
yeah.
So
It's a
not
transition film for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So overall, flying fucks.
I'd give it a good 7.5. I think maybe even up to 8, but 7.5 seems right.
7.5 sounds good. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hopefully right now there's a big flying fuck on the screen with the number 7.5 under it.
Yeah,
Again, if I do my job, that will hopefully be there. If I haven't done my job, sorry.
He's fired.
And if you're listening to this on audio, you have no fucking clue what we're talking about. And just know that we gave Ant-Man 7.5 flying fucks. So that's that. That's the episode. That's the news. That's the previews. That's the review. That's what we do. That was a whole lot of awesome rhyming. Yeah. I didn't even plan that.
I'm gonna pat him on the head virtually.
It just happened. Like I don't even plan these things. Anyway, so that's the episode.
But we did want to give people a little sort of a little taste of the things that are going to come this year.
No, right? We don't have time for that now.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna go. But
no, okay. We've gone YouTube. We're making a whole bunch of new segments and specials coming up. Last year it got away from us.
We were both not well. And
we were busy. I was dying. She was dying. She was doing a PhD. I spent time in the hospital. I got this, that, and the other thing, blah, blah, blah. So we were basically just doing news, reviews.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've listened to us for the previous 3 years, you'll know that year 1 and year 2, we tried to get more interviews in. We tried to do specials. We tried to do, we tried to celebrate the weeks and the months that come up, like Pride Month and Asian International, what's that one called? Whatever.
It's basically the recognition of the Pan-Asian cultural during the month of May. And we are going to be revisiting that. But this year we're going to be focusing on introduction to Bollywood, because we one of the films that we encountered last year, RRR, which is a Tollywood film, closely related, but not quite the same thing, really reminded us that this is an area of cinema that not everybody gets a chance to explore and might be a little intimidated by, and we definitely want to.
So we are going to be your introduction to Bollywood.
We are going to bring you in because it's awesome, and you should definitely, take some of that in. And of course, we're going to be going back to some of our focuses on mental health, because that's important to both of us on personal and just general levels. This year in October, I know it's like forever away, but God, these things happen faster than we want. We're going to be doing we're planning a focus on Carpenter, Cronenberg, and Craven for the month of October. But in particular, we have a Friday the 13th this year in October. So we are definitely going to be revisiting the Friday the 13th franchises this year. All of them.
And sooner than that, of course, we have our Oscar live stream that'll be coming up on March 11th.
Mm-hmm.
We are also, I believe, in March, we are going to be talking about women in film, because we have the WIF Film Festival, the Women in Film Festival.
Which has finally restarted after being suspended during the pandemic.
Yeah, so this year we are very much hoping to do more of the specials and more of the one-offs and the more intimate segments and stuff like that than just the running through news and reviews. We do like doing this because we do like bringing news to you, and we do like doing our reviews because we do watch a lot of shit, and we do like giving it flying fucks.
Yes, and we like to learn things. Sometimes this has helped me learn about some of the stuff that's coming out that I have become very excited about or very immersed in some cases. So I really enjoy those aspects as well.
And a lot of movies are celebrating anniversaries this year, so we're gonna fucking try and get on some of those with specific episodes about them.
And some segment tie-ins, like with Soylent Green's 50th anniversary that's coming up in I think it was May, if I remember correctly. And so we're going to be looking at, awesome plot twists as related to that particular film.
Yeah. So if we have a written biographies episode that's going to come up at some point in time, because we realize that we don't spend enough time in the pages. So
Yes.
we'd like to bring something to that.
More music, more pages.
Yeah.
All of these kinds of
Dennis
things.
Lehane, which is one of my favorite authors, has a book being released this year. So of course I'll be diving into that and hopefully reviewing that. We're going to bring
So
new.
many
Well,
things.
again, we're going to go new from old, or bring new from the old. We're going to go back to basically where it all started and put last year behind us. We still enjoyed it. You guys still listen to it, so thank you very much for all that.
Thank you.
But we're going to try and get it a little more back on pace with what we really wanted to do. What we didn't want to just come on here and do the tested and tried over and over again. We wanted to explore and do new things.
Changing phrases now.
And now we're
inventing new words. This is what we do.
This is what we do. Anyway, so hopefully we have a lot. Now, if you're listening to us, of course, hit us up on all of our socials. Like, follow, subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, somewhere on the screen, there should be a subscribe button and a little bell that will notify you every time we drop a new video and whatnot. There's a comment section down below, which I will read unless you leave nasty things. I'll still read them, but...
Oh, yeah, we'll read them, but we will block your butt.
Oh, no, I won't block your butt. Understand that I am vindictive. They will not go ignored.
Don't incite them. Don't do it.
No, don't hate on us. We're lovely people. Please. Thank you. Anyway, that's the episode. We hope you enjoyed. We'll be back soon.
Yes.
Don't know when, but soon. Keep your eye out. We'll be around.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.